It's Dreich.
So, ignore the weather, ignore the politics. What about culture? I'm going to talk about that play I mentioned earlier on, Jez Butterworth's Jerusalem, which is a kind of requiem for rural England, which asks some big questions about national identity and failing communities, and features a fantastic central performance from Mark Rylance, who won the Evening Standard Best Actor Award. His sidekick, Ginger, is played by Mackenzie Crook, who many of you will know from The Office as Gareth. Well, I'm delighted to be joined by both of them. Thank you both very much indeed for coming in. This is a play which has really captured people's imagination in a way I can't remember a new play doing for a very, very long time. Why do you think that is, Mark?
It's difficult to know. I've not seen it, you know. I've not. So I don't. It does, though, capture people. A lot of people know a character like the character I play, who is a man on the fringe of a small town, and that's the comment I get very often after the play. Is they have had a friendship like Ginger has with him.
And you're sitting in a kind of broken-down caravan in a kind of
bit of
scuzzy woodland.
Yeah. But providing a certain kind of wildness for the young people that's not totally destructive at all. A certain kind of rite of passage into adulthood, I suppose.
Yes.
And something crazy, something, you know, not to do with corporate efficiency or any of the kind of news. It's something that's something to do with the land, I guess, and to do with the people's true nature.
And there's a sort of underbelly nature of, you know, the English life that is not much reflected in newspapers or television and stuff, Mackenzie. I wondered, I mean, because you did lots and lots of little jobs and stuff, moving from job to job to job before you became an actor.
Yes. Yeah, and I mean, I grew up in Kent, just outside Dartford. It wasn't quite rural England, but, you know, I can see, you know, it's a smallish town, and the youth is quite often very bored and looking for something exciting to do, and they gravitate towards characters like Mark plays Rooster Byron, because of perhaps the danger, the excitement.
And there's this sort of strange kind of emblematic, iconic aspect to the way that your character talks. I mean, it's your language is full of St. George and the Green Man and the Old England and giants and so on. The sense that I think a lot of people feel that there is a kind of early English identity still to be grasped.
Yeah, I think it's about the question of what is indigenous Englishness. I think it's clearer to look at the Welsh and the Irish and the Scottish and grasp. Maybe you can't put words to it, but you can. There's certain kind of things that are very much of their nation's character, and it's harder, perhaps because of our imperial past and the nature of the history of England, to be pleased or proud about being English. We used to have it at the Globe, a lot of difficulty trying to celebrate Shakespeare's birthday and St. George's Day without the National Front coming in, you know. Yeah. And I remember Ken Livingstone, and I think still Boris, are trying to figure out how to
celebrate, because part of this is very sort of dark and dysfunctional too, isn't it? I mean, just thinking that ghastly story from Doncaster this week. I mean, there is a certain amount of wildness and madness and cruelty. There's cruelty in the play, but there's cruelty in Englishness too. It's not just a sort of an easy thing to celebrate.
Well, there's a really good book called Real England by Paul Kingsnorth, which was a great inspiration to us. Yeah. And one of the things he remarks about is this union of government and big business, which in my mind is a little bit like the union of government and the church in the Middle Ages. It's out of hand. Yeah. And the pressure on the countryside, particularly, of new estates, of these huge shopping markets like Tesco's and stuff that have European legislation behind them, so local councils can't stop them. And this natural attempt by corporations who are only there to make money for shareholders, to make everything the most efficient, to reduce the amount of brands, reduce the amount of variety. It's it creates an incredible hunger in the young people, particularly in all people. And I think the play has a lot of language, and one of the things, the reason it's popular is it answers or reminds us of what that hunger is and what we need, which is stories and culture and variety.
Yeah, yeah. Do you feel the same thing, Mackenzie? Because I know that you're a Green Party activist, and I think you actually spent some of your gains from acting on buying some woodland of your own. Is that right?
Yes, I do have some woodland in Essex. I'm not a Green Party activist. No, I wouldn't say that. But
you appeared in an ad. That was what I was. Did you not appear in an ad for the Green Party?
No, I didn't. I mean, I'm an environmentalist, and those sort of issues are, you know, what I'm passionate about. But yes, I bought some woodland in Essex 3 years ago as a long-term conservation project, and to take my children there to hopefully...
He has a herd of tortoises up there.
Well,
is that true?
He provides the tortoises for the play. We have 3 tortoises in the play, and they come from his herd. I think that's the correct term.
Yeah, a herd of tortoises, I think that's
They make a noise like that when they move together.
Absolutely. I must just ask a little bit about the Shakespearean part of your life as well, because you were in the Globe for so long.
Yeah.
Everybody said that was going to be, almost everybody said that was going to be just for the tourists. It was, talking about Englishness, it wasn't really for British people to go along and look at it. It was a bit too chintzy and so on. But it's been a roaring success, hasn't it? There's still a hunger for almost as much Shakespeare as people can get their hands on.
Yeah, it carries on being very popular. I went last summer and heard a Greek play, a relatively unknown Greek play called Helen, and I think they did 8 or 9 nights. And this is a theatre that holds 1,500. It was sold out every afternoon and night that it played. I mean, that's incredible. If one of the big houses like the National, probably somewhere in the background here, or the RSC, was able to fill their main stage with a relatively unknown Greek tragedy, and have a yard of 500 people paying £5 standing to hear that kind of wonderful story and language, I think they'd be trumpeting it from the top of their concrete boxes. Yeah. But at the Globe, it's surprising, really, the whole idea that it's just for the tourists. I mean, it's a great thing that people come to London to go to the theatre.
To Shakespeare, yeah.
Well, I played
whoever Shakespeare was, because you're part of the little movement of heretics.
Now, don't get started, Andrew. Don't get started.
All right. Well, listen. Thank you both very much. Just for those of you who didn't go to all the Pirates of the Caribbean shows, we're going to do a little bit of The Office now with Mackenzie Crook. Thank you both very much indeed for coming in, and we will finish with Gareth in full flow. Thank you.
Do you know about your car and your kung fu and everything?
Yeah, got a TR3, bought it for 1,200. Done it up, now it's worth $3,000.
Profit on that.
New suspension, new engine.
Just a wreck.
Respray. I've got some.
Do it himself.
Oh, what is that?
Whoa.
Dave, right, that is it.
Slow down, you move too fast. Solomon's here. All part of the job. What's going on?
Put my stapler inside a jelly again. That's the 3rd time he's done it. It wasn't even funny the 1st time.
Why has he done that?
Just told him once that I don't like jelly.
Richard Hawley is singer, songwriter,